Hi guys, this is the first episode of Water into Wine, which is a series based around Michael Paul's podcast. And what I will do is each week there's going to be a different subject to do with his podcast episodes. So what I will do, I haven't done it at the start of the stream, but it will be added after, and any backups we make of this, it'll be added to that. So each subject is going to be different theme completely, and I'm basically going to be asking Michael about the questions. I will leave links for each episode on each stream, so you can listen to them and make your own conclusions and maybe watch back the questions and and stuff like that. So that's basically what it's about, because Michael has got I think it's 15 years of podcast. I think it was 15 years. His sort of insights to looking into different things to do with his experiences and looking for answers to the questions he had, and quite a fascinating journey, to be honest. And with that, I'm going to give you to Michael Paul, to him to give you a bit of background about himself, and then we'll actually start them proper.
Thank you, John. Well, I live at the time when all this started. I lived just outside London in Romford. I was a nightclub DJ as well as a mobile DJ, and I later became a radio presenter. I was actually a radio presenter when it first started, I think. And the whole gist of this was because I was going through something very profound and very life-changing, and I was desperately trying to cling on to facts, because it was just bizarre, the situations I was finding myself in. I now know through looking at different spiritual sites, they call it an awakening. At the time, I thought I was going mad. This started mid-90s, early 90s. And I started working in Hollywood's, the nightclub Hollywood's in Romford, as a DJ on a Wednesday and Thursday night. And I started working with a guy called Russell Aylett, who ended up, over the years, over 3 or 4 years that we were together the first time, he ended up being my best friend. We used to spend a lot of time together, and we used to leave Hollywood's and go to his flat and then sit and talk and watch some TV until daybreak. Then we used to go down the cafe and have some breakfast. And on one of these occasions, he started he was quite a deep person, very intellectual, very intelligent. He was very grungy. He used to DJ the Monday nights in Hollywood, which was called Coma, and that was a grunge night. So he was very, actually, like I'm dressed now, baggy jumpers, jeans, t-shirts, and he was very sort of long hair. He had a darker hair, but he used to dye it blonde. He was completely opposite to me, completely opposite. But when we started talking to each other, there was a meeting of the minds. There was an understanding between the two of them, which was quite interesting, really, because he wasn't my type of person at all, and I wasn't his type of person at all. I'm a bit more straight-laced. So we went round his flat this one particular night, and he's playing cards while we're watching TV. And he found out that if he turned 4 cards over, it would either give you, because of the suits that the cards was in, or the numbers, it would either give you a positive or a negative answer, or a not sure. For example, 2 black, 2 red would be a not sure. 3 red and 1 black would be a yes, and so on and so forth. So, and he used to deal with it with the numbers as well. And he used to do this twisty thing. When he put the card down, he used to deal 4 cards and do a twisty thing with his thumb on top of the cards, like he was giving it good luck or something. And he noticed, before he'd said anything to me, he'd noticed that he was asking the cards control questions he knew the answers to. And when he turned the cards over, they were giving him the correct answers back. So he said, look, this is happening. So I went, no, it's nonsense. I was very, very material at that time. Everything was about what I could get, the money that I earned, and so on and so forth. So he said, well, you do it then. So I said, okay. I asked a question, dealt the cards. He done his twisty thing with his thumb on top of the cards, turned the cards over, and it gave the right answer. So then we progressed within about 15, 20 minutes to asking questions that we didn't know the answers to. And over the coming 2 or 3 weeks, we found out that the cards gave us the correct answer 2 or 3 weeks previously, which I thought was really, really weird. But it was just a fleeting thing that happened. While he was dealing these cards, he said, I wonder if there is an afterlife. I said, I don't suppose we'll ever know. He said, I wonder whether angels actually exist. So I said, we probably won't know, mate, will we? Until we die, and then it's too late. You can't do anything about it. He said, all right, we'll make a pact between the two of us now. Whoever dies first comes back and tells the other one whether angels exist. So I went, all right, okay, that seems fair. I'd forgotten that 20 minutes after we'd had the conversation, because being material, it was a nonsense conversation that weren't really going anywhere. So I just agreed with it and we carried on. So we were together as friends for a couple of years, I think 3 years. And then he went off to Spain. So after, I think it was about 10 years or 12 years, I got a phone call. Hello, Mike, it's Russ. I said, hello, mate, how you doing? He said, yeah, I'm coming back to the UK. He said, so can you put me up for like a couple of nights until I find somewhere to live? So I said, yeah, of course I can. So I went and picked him up from Stansted Airport. Because his mother lived in Spain at that point, so he'd been staying with her for quite a few years. I picked him up from Stansted. We come back to my flat and he stayed with me a couple of nights, and it was just like it used to be. The relationship was still there. We used to laugh until we were virtually sick. And there was a joke I told him, a genital humour joke that he didn't find funny at all, and this particular joke made him laugh until his stomach hurt. And that's one of the really fond memories that I've got of Russell. So anyway, we went round to different areas in Essex and Ipswich, visiting nightclubs that we'd worked in and talking to the managers that were there, and managers that were no longer managers anymore. And he couldn't find any work. He then said, I've got to find somewhere to live. So we rigged up 3 flats, 3 bed sits for him to go and look at in Romford. We went to see the first one, and it wasn't much cop. It was very damp in there and cold. And while we was at the first one, I got a call on my mobile that the third one, the second one, couldn't make it at the time we'd specified. So could we move it till a little bit later on? So I said, yes, that's no problem. Then we rang the third one, and they said it's okay to be moved into the second place. So we went to see the second one, which was originally the third one. That was no good either. And then we went to see the third one, which was originally the second one. That was no good. So we walked out of the flat, and I'm going, so what are you going to do now then? You've got nowhere to live. And there was the YMCA, Romford's YMCA, right in front of us. So we went, let's try in there. Okay, yeah, no problem. So we went into the YMCA and walked up to the desk. I got this really bad feeling in the pit of my stomach. The minute we walked in, it was a really, really bad feeling. Said to the woman, he said, I want to live here for a while, if that's okay. She said, yeah, that's fine. And she picked up a key that was right in front of her on the desk. And she went, there you go. The lady's just cleaned it because the person before has just moved out. He went, oh, okay, no problem. Took the key, went into the lift. I'm still getting this really, really bad feeling about the place. And we came out on the 6th floor, turned left out the lift. There's cameras everywhere. And he went into the room. It was a very basic room. It was nice. It was okay. It was worth the money. There was just a wash basin and a cupboard and a bed. And it was quite, as I say, 6th floor. So it was quite high up, and it overlooked a car park behind. So he said, yeah, this is all right. I'll take it. And it was, I don't know, 100, maybe 115 pounds a week, something like that. So he moved in there. The following week, that was on the Thursday or the Friday of that week. The following week, I got a phone call over the weekend to book me to go and do a company DJ for a company in Birmingham. That was on the Wednesday night and the Thursday night. So I was working on a local radio station at the time. On the Monday morning, I said to them, "Can I have the Thursday and the Friday off?" Yeah, of course you can. So I rang Russell. I'd seen him a couple of times, then he'd gone back to the hostel. And I rang Russell on the Wednesday afternoon when I was driving up to Birmingham. And I said, "How you doing, mate?" He said, "Yeah, no problem. Everything's okay." He said, "Looking forward to you coming back. Perhaps we can have a couple of drinks again." Yeah, because he did like his drink. So all of a sudden on the phone, it was a knock on the door like this. And hang on a minute, I've got to go because there's someone at the door. So he put the phone down. I done the gig on the Wednesday night. And on the Thursday night, I was just staying in a hotel room all on my own day Thursday. Thursday night, done the gig again. And on the Friday morning, I started coming back. It was about midday, I suppose, something like that. And I got a phone call from a female friend of ours that we used to work with in Hollywoods. Her name's Karen. And she said, "Have you been able to get hold of Russell?" So I said, "I haven't spoken to him since Wednesday afternoon. He was okay on Wednesday, though." I said, "I can't see anything would have happened by then." He said, "Just that he's not answering any of my phone calls." So I said, "All right, I'll give him a ring." So I rang him up. "Hello, Brussel." So I called him Brussel. It was stupid, I know. "Hello, Brussel. It's only me. Give us a call, mate. Everyone's getting a bit worried about you. What are you doing?" And he just put the phone down. So Friday night I got back and I went to bed. I wasn't feeling too well. I didn't have any gigs on the Friday or Saturday. So Saturday morning I'm driving around Romford. I'm going to get some shopping and some food, and I get a phone call. "Hello, is that Mike?" So yeah. "Hello, this is the YMCA. We want to know." This was about 1 o'clock, I think it was, 1 o'clock or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. "We want to know if you've seen Russell because he's paid for a week and we can't find him and we need another week's rent." So I went, "I haven't seen him." I said, "Actually, I had a phone call from a female friend saying she hadn't spoke to him either. And I was going to leave it until Monday. And then if we still can't get anything from him, then I'll report him as a missing person." But he was quite a flighty person. So I said to the guy on the phone, "If you go into his room," because they got all these pass keys that they get in any room, "go into his room, look for his passport. If his passport's not there, I would say he's gone back to Spain. He's gone back to his mum." "Okay, no problem." And then he called me again a couple of hours later. "Hello, is that Mike?" "Yeah, speaking." "Hello, this is so-and-so from YMCA again, and we want to know if you've spoken to Russell recently." So I said, "No, we had this conversation a couple of hours ago. Did you go into his room?" And he went, No, we didn't." So he went, "Well," I said, "Well, go into his room and look for his passport because he's quite a flighty person. He may have just did a flick because he couldn't get any work and he didn't have any more money, so he's gone back to his mum." I said, "If you want to, because it's going through somebody's belongings and I can understand anybody not wanting to do something like that. I said, if you want to, I'll come with you," because Russell was a very private person as well. He wouldn't have liked that. "I'll come with you, so you've got me to back you up, and we'll look for his passport together." "Oh no, that's okay. No. I now know that was the police calling." So 2 hours, 3 hours later, it's now got round to about 6, maybe 7 o'clock at night. My girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, has come round and she went to put the kettle on, and I'm feeling a little bit fluey. The cold's taking hold of me, and I'm just dozing in a chair like this, and then all of a sudden the phone rings. "Hello?" And someone goes, "Why aren't you answering the door?" "Sorry?" It was a withheld number. "Why aren't you answering your front door?" "So what are you talking about?" I went, because it was an upstairs flat, I'd opened the curtains and looked down, and there was 2 men in suits standing at the front door. So I went, "Hang on a minute, I'll come down." So I went down, and one of the guys, he said, I can't remember if he said Romford or Dagenham CID, but he said basically police, and he went to push past me. So I just stood still. I mean, Romford's quite a rough area, so I'm not letting someone who's a complete stranger into my flat. you know what I mean? I would have guarded it with my life. I can't be having people just coming in and nicking stuff. That's the basic gist of what I was thinking. So I stood firm, and then he stepped back, and then he pulled out his warrant card. The other guy pulled out a warrant card, and then the other guy we went like this to the doorway next to us, and a WPC stepped out from the doorway in full police uniform. So I said, "Oh, okay, come in then, guys." So they come in. I said, "What's this about then? What's the matter?" "Oh, we want to talk to you about Russell." I went, "Oh," as we're walking up the stairs. "Go on, what's he done now?" I was half laughing. Think myself, he's gone and done something and got himself into trouble. Up the stairs. "What's he done now? Can we talk when we get upstairs, Mike?" "Yeah, of course we can. Yeah." Went upstairs, and I said, "Come on, you got to tell me what he's done." And he went, "We found a body, and we think it's Russell." I can't even begin to tell you. The room shrunk. I felt very claustrophobic. It always makes me a little bit emotional when I talk about this, because the feelings are coming back. But I felt really, really lonely. It was a really awful, awful feeling that I would never, ever want to go through again. And then my girlfriend at the time came out of the kitchen with eyes like this, as if, "Oh." So I went, "It's Russell, babe. They've found a body." We walked into the front room, and the two guys sat on the sofa, and I sat on a seat next to them. And they were playing good cop, bad cop. One wasn't saying anything and just glaring at me, and the other one was quite chatty. And I'm going, "Oh." So I immediately saw what was going on, and I went, "Oh, hold it a minute. You're looking to see whether I'm involved in whatever's gone on here." So he said, "Okay, where were you on," I think he said, "Wednesday night?" I said, "I was in Birmingham." "Is there anybody that can vouch for you?" So I said, "Yes, about 250 people." I said, "If you'd like me to, I'll give you the telephone number and the name of the agent that got me the job. He will be able to put you in contact with all the sound and lighting crew that I was working with all night. And you've got all the customers, although they may not remember who the DJ was." "Oh, okay. All right. So that was sort of like a dead end. They didn't want to go down there any further, and they just started talking to me, and it kept dawning on me. It's a really weird situation when somebody springs something like that on you. You forget. You start a conversation, and you forget that he's dead. So I remember going, I said, "He's such an idiot sometimes. He really is." And then it went bong. You know that feeling in the pit of your stomach where it goes cold, and you go, "Oh, he's dead." And that stopped me dead in my tracks in the conversation. I was quite tearful. And then the police finished off their talking to me, and they said, "Do you mind if you come down, and we might have some more questions for you?" So I said, "No, that's all right." I said, "Anything I can do to help you." I said, "But please pull out all the stops and find out who done this." Now the place is covered in cameras, the YMCA. They brought an image towards me with 3 blurred faces, and just Russell it was a black and white image, obviously taken from a CCTV. He said, "Can you tell me if that's Russell?" So I said, "Yeah, that's him. That's Russ." I couldn't make out who the other people were. And it was a couple of months later. After this, I went and ID'd the body on the Sunday morning, because I needed somebody to ID. And he looked bloated. He'd been laying in a wardrobe for 3 days. So obviously the body had started to decompose a little bit. He was bright green with areas of jet black on his face. It was a horrible, horrible scene, and it's something I will never ever get over. It still comes back every now and again, and I can still see it. Sorry. So I ID'd the body on the Sunday, and yes, I did to the policeman, "Yes, that's him. And I ended up getting quite friendly with one of these policemen. He kept coming around and asking a few questions every now and again, and going again. And a couple of months later, I think it was 3 months later, the Da Vinci Code was released. So in the Da Vinci Code, they kept telling you that there was, or Dan Brown kept explaining, there was works of art with certain symbolism, pagan symbolism in them. And this whole subject, I can't begin to describe it. It gripped me like no subject has ever gripped me before. I had a thirst for this knowledge that appeared out of nowhere. So me and the wife and or the girlfriend at the time, it sort of like went round. I started digging on the internet and finding certain books. Didn't read too much of the books because I didn't want to be swayed in what I was finding in the book. I didn't want somebody else's opinion to veer off and tell me where to look. So I just kept digging, 25th of December, what's a manger? What was the color of Christ? And it kept going on and on and on and on like this. And I just kept hours and hours and hours. I was doing this day after day after day. So I said to the girlfriend, let's go on different, city breaks. I want to go to Florence because I need to see the Birth of Venus by Botticelli in the Uffizi Museum. I want to go to Rome because I need to look in the Vatican first and foremost, and secondly in the Louvre. And I want to go to I want to go to the Vatican, and I want to go to Paris to see the Louvre. So yeah, okay, all right. So we started going on these city breaks, and while we was on the city breaks, I'm taking loads of pictures of all the architecture and everything else because it was just really fascinating me. We went up to monasteries that was high up in a hill, covered in gold leaf on the outside and inside. It must have cost an absolute fortune. And I was noticing the same shapes, the same geometric designs that I was seeing in the works of art. So I started taking pictures, and I'm noticing these little round circles of light appearing in the pictures. So we've come back, and it was just one or two. And I remember laying on a bed. My girlfriend was having a shower, and I was talking to it because it seemed like it was intelligently controlled. Call me weird if you will, but this was just an avenue I was going down. And I could ask for a certain amount of orbs to appear, and they would appear in the photograph or the video that I was taking. And that mystified me. So I come back, and I was taking nightclub shots of where I worked as a DJ for advertisement purposes. And then I went to see a friend of mine, John, who's heavily into photography. And I said, John, I'm having these little round circles of light appear, and they're turning up more and more and more and more. There's becoming, I said, in the last picture, there must be hundreds of them, not one or two like there was before. It seems whatever's going on, it's increasing and getting bigger. So I said, I've looked on the internet, and they call them orbs. So he said, look, I've taken thousands of photographs in my front room and all over the place. He said, there's no such thing as these little orbs, spiritual orbs that you're asking for. He said, I've got a brand new camera in front of me. I think it's dust on the back of the lens. This brand new camera is perfect because I've used it. Let's go into my front room now and take some pictures. And I guarantee there won't be one orb in them. So I said, all right, come on in. So he said, all right, stand up against that wall there. I said, take 3 flash on and 3 pictures flash off. Okay, no problem. So I stood up against the wall, and he took the 3 pictures, then took another 3 pictures. He went back to his computer, took the SD card out, put it in the computer, and he went, right, first picture, Bob, nothing. He went, yeah, nothing. I said, I'm telling you, I don't expect to see anything in this because it's nonsense. Second picture, nothing. He went, there won't be any orbs in this picture. Third picture, there was about 6 orbs. And he went, oh, that's not the camera. I've used this camera. I can show you other pictures with this camera. It's perfect. It's a brand new camera. He said, it's not my front room because I've taken thousands of pictures in the front room because he used to picture animals on the desk. He said, there's nothing floating about in my front room like this. Otherwise, I'd have seen it before. He said, whatever this is, it's you. He said, and if it's increasing, there's something increasing within you to do this. So I went, oh, come on, John. I'm not Doris Stokes. Christ almighty, mate. What were you talking about? I said, I'm quite, and John is a very, very logical person. I said, I'm a logical person. There's got to be a normal answer for this. So he said, I don't know what it is. So I decided to go and see a medium. And the first medium I saw was a lovely lady called Lorraine Reese. She is absolutely phenomenal. Spooky scary, this woman is. Because I was working on local radio at the time. Went to see her. I think it was a Saturday afternoon when I weren't working. And she said, oh, come in. What's your date of birth? So I told her date of birth, and I gave her a different name, as I just said. And she said, oh, right, okay. You're born under the birth sign of Gemini. And then she went, oh, I've got your best friend here. So in my head, I've gone, have you? That's nice. It means nothing. The lucky guess, I suppose. She went, he's telling me to tell you, you really were his best friend. So I said, okay. And he died under very tragic circumstances. She said, in fact, he's come out of his body as he's dying, and he's observing everything that's going on the bed. Okay, all right. And then she just started crying. She said, he's showing me what they're doing to him. And she just burst into tears. And I felt like apologising for this, even though I haven't done anything. I feel like apologising to her. I'm really sorry I made you cry. She said, he keeps telling me you really are his best friend, and he's shouting at me to say angels exist. So at that point, my mind went back to a conversation that I thought I'd forgotten all about when we were in his flat. And he said, whoever goes first has got to come back and tell the other person whether angels exist or not. And that was like a slap round the face. That was like it really was a good kick. And I'm going, no, that can't be. And I'm going, but she just said it. This is all, and she's carrying on talking. And in my head, I've gone somewhere else. I'm like, I can't believe this has happened like this. So she told me the view from the window over a car park. She said, you're up high. She told me what they'd actually done to him. And because I was involved in the case with the police, I knew a certain amount of what she said. In fact, one of the police actually said they really worked on him, Mike. He said there was 70% or 80% of the wall was covered with blood. They really worked on him and took their time. So, and I'm going, but she's spot on. What she's saying is spot on. That can't be right. She can't be telling me that a dead person is talking to me and saying things like this. It can't happen. It doesn't happen. And I was so adamant. I sent my girlfriend in at the time. She told me a lot of things that Russ apparently said that he's been sent to get me because I have a job to do. So, and I still don't know what the job is. This is in total, I think it's 17 years now. So I sent my girlfriend in again, assumed name, because I thought, no, this woman is telling everybody what she told me. That's the only answer I could come to. And she told my girlfriend about her life. And then she told my girlfriend the same story as she told me about me. So I thought, she knows there's a link between me and this woman. So another friend of mine came forward. I want to see a medium, Mike. Right, this is the woman you need to go and see, Lorraine Reese. He went in there. I said, use an assumed name. I said, tell her nothing. Just confirm whether she's right or wrong, or deny whether she's wrong. So he went in there. He came out. He went, I can't believe that. So I said, was she right? She was spot on. And at the time, I was working in a radio station in Southend, and it had a very, very strange shaped window in the studio behind me where I was working. It was a really wide, not very high window. And you looked out across Thames Estuary. And she said, someone's going to train me. And he'd asked me to show him how to be a radio presenter because he was sick of working nightclubs. Someone's going to show me how to be, how to do a particular profession, I think he said it was. She didn't say what the profession was. She said, but I can smell fish and chips. It's a seaside town with this person, and I see a really, really weird shaped window. And she described to him now this Paul had never seen the window, and he described to me that she described to him the shape of the window behind me. So now I'm going, this is nonsense. I can't be having this. I went in again with a different name. This was 2 weeks, 3 weeks later. And she started telling me another story again about what's coming up for me, what's going on, what was in my life, what I'd done wrong, who had died. And she was spot on with every single aspect. And I'm looking for earpieces. I'm looking for recording devices. I know for a fact that she couldn't have Googled me because it's just, it was a made up name. So, and I kept going back and back and back to see Lorraine, and she just kept revealing more and more and more. And she then said, in one of the first interviews, she said to me, you're going to be approached in a couple of weeks by a guy who's going to offer you a part in a film. So I said, yeah, of course, love, because I'm Romford's answer to Brad Pitt. This was right at the start when I had no confidence in what she was saying. So you can hear me laughing. I had the tape a while ago. I don't know where it is now, but I had the tape quite a while ago, and you could hear me laughing on the tape. 2 weeks later, I was driving to work on a Friday night, going to Southend from Romford, and I got a phone call. So I've pulled the van over, lifted up the phone. I said, hello. And he went, hello, Mike. This is Steve. So I went, Steve who? And he went, it's Steve. Last time we worked with him was so-and-so. So I went, oh, Steve, I haven't worked with you for... And I went, oh, my God, it's 20 years. And at the back of my head, I had this naggy voice going, he's going to ask. He's going to ask. He's going to ask you to do something in a film. And then he went, I've got a favour to ask. So I said, go on then. And I've got my eyes closed at the time. And I'm going, no, don't ask. This scuppers my complete understanding of life. He said, how'd you fancy doing a part in a film? So I started shaking at that point because it was just mind-numbingly ridiculous that this was the situation I found myself in. So I said, yeah, of course I can. He said, okay. He said, well, the director and the writer is Billy. He said, come down on Wednesday and we'll introduce you to him and all the rest of it. Never had a clue what the film was about. So I'm sitting there and I got this gut feeling that someone was trying to prove something to me. And I didn't have a clue what. So went to do the night's work. Came the following Wednesday. I went into Basildon and went into this block of flats and sat and spoke to Billy, who's behind the desk, and Steve was sitting on my left-hand side. And I said, yeah, hello. I said, apparently you need a radio voice. You need a radio presenter for a certain piece in a film. Yeah, that's right. Okay, all right. Yeah, well, yeah, you got the voice. I can hear the voice. Yeah, you've got the voice. He said, has Steve told you what the film's about? So I said, no, he hasn't. He said, well, I would say it's an English Da Vinci Code. And I went, oh, my God, I've just been researching that. Now, this time, I'm about a year away, maybe a year and a half away from Russ's death. So I went, I've just been researching that. And then Billy went to Steve, you're not going to get me this time, because I was always playing pranks to each other. And Steve went, oh, no. He went, I swear to God, Bill, I haven't told him what the film was about. I never said a word. So there was a stunned silence in the air because it was a really weird coincidence. So anyway, we started filming. A few months went past. We started filming, and I found myself on a night shoot with a guy called Errol. Really, really lovely guy. And I ended up being quite friendly with him until he passed. And I'm standing there, and Errol went to me. He said, yeah, he said, I got involved in this. He said, because my agent knew Billy. He said, so it came round. I went and done a rehearsal for the part, and I got the part. Billy gave me the part. He said, how did you get involved? Because I've got a camera in my hand now, and it's about 2:00 in the morning in the middle of Basildon. We're shooting this film. So I went, well, I said, it's really strange, actually. I said, because I spoke to a medium, and she predicted that I was going to get called. Steve called me, and And I got asked on a film, and I said I've been researching the Da Vinci Code, which is obviously the bottom line of this film is very similar. I said, and I said it all started. Weird stuff was starting happening to me as soon as I was. I found out that my friend had been murdered in Romford, and he went, "Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Mike." He said, "Whereabouts did he get murdered?" I said, "He was in the YMCA." And then his eyes widened a bit, and he looked. What was his name, Mike? I said, Russell Aylett. And he went, "Oh my God, Mike, I was in the room next to him. I'm the one that raised the alarm. I told there was something going on. Something had gone on in that room. There was a smell." He went, and I was the one that pushed the staff to go in the room. So I went, "Oh my God." And I'd been to see other mediums in the meantime. So I said, I'm going to ask you a couple of questions now. Perhaps you can answer them, because they don't make any sense to me. So I said, he keeps running round and round and round and down, round and round and round and round and down. So he went, they turned the lifts off at 9 o'clock at night. I went, okay. He said, and that's the only way out. So I said, okay. So I said, he keeps going away and coming back, going away and coming back. So he went, yeah, that was, and he named the person. He said that he kept going away during the week and coming back at weekends and laying low. He said, to my knowledge, the police haven't spoken to this guy. So I went, oh, all right, okay then. And there was another one that escapes me now, how many people were in the room, and he confirmed that it was right, these many people. And this other medium, Grace Kennedy from Canvey Island, fantastic medium again. She actually named the people, and this was about a year and a half, or perhaps a little bit longer, after Russell had died. So she knew, again, nothing about me, and she named the people that were in the room. And one of the names she gave me is the guy that ended up going to prison for it. And again, I got this gut feeling that someone is trying to prove something to me, and I've got to start paying attention. And from that point onwards, I was getting a huge amount of synchronistic events turn up. I was walking to work on Southend Seafront one morning. We had to, the car park was under construction, so we had to park in the Sea Life Adventure car park and then walk up to the radio station. So I parked there and I'm walking the length of Southend, and some guy was walking 3 or 4 paces behind me, and there was another couple, I don't know, 6 or 7 paces in front. And it was the Friday morning where they were getting ready for the air show. So there was a St. John's ambulance reversing onto the pavement. And as it's reversing, it's going beep, beep, beep. Well, the couple in front of me just didn't even stop. They just carried on walking, and he had to slam his brakes on because he obviously hadn't seen them. But they just carried on walking right behind him. So I'd stopped a few 6, 7 paces away from the ambulance, and then the guy behind me had caught up with me. And in my head, I'm thinking, this can't be happening to me. These situations, I must be making these happen somehow, or I'm imagining it. And it was at the time when I thought I was going mad with all this. I'm seeing connections everywhere. And he went, look at those two. Look, they haven't got a clue what's going on around them. But you're different. You're listening. And I went, he's just give me the answer to the question that I was thinking. And I went, and by the time I turned around, he just carried on walking. The ambulance was on the pavement, and he just disappeared. And I thought, you've got to be kidding me. And I stood there stunned. You've got to be kidding me. I can't believe he just said that to me. No, and at that point I thought, no, I am going mad. I'm imagining people and everything now, imagining conversations. This is loony land I'm going into. And the synchronistic events just kept happening. A while after that, my mother passed away, and it was in December, and we'd booked the cremation and what have you. It was early part of January, and that week I was having really weird stuff going on in the flat. My girlfriend had been woken up with somebody breathing in her ear. She'd never done it since, and she'd never done it before. She woke up, someone breathing in their ear, and she went to me, someone's in this room. Someone's here with us. So, right, okay. So I've got out of bed, put all the lights on, walked around the flat. I said, there's no one here. No, I'm telling you, there is someone in this room. I can feel it. Now, my wife, my girlfriend at the time, she's not a spiritual person like this. She doesn't do this sort of thing. She's never done it since. So we just ignored that, carried on, and the feeling passed. And then the following day, sitting there watching the TV in the bedroom, and the TV turns itself off. And this is the lead up to my mum's cremation. And then it turns on, then it turns off again. And I'm going, oh, that's it. TV's knackered. Got to get another television now. And then we was watching TV, and it changed channels, and it changed back again. And I'm thinking to myself, perhaps someone around here has just bought the same TV, and their remote is now affecting the TV. Change channels, change back again. And then during the week, the volume's going up, then the volume's turning off, and the volume's going up and turning off. It's turning off itself and then turning back on again. And I'm going, the TV is just broken. It really is. It really is just knackered. And then my mother was cremated, and we had the scatter the ashes where my father's ashes were scattered, and then everything just went and stopped. TV was right as rain, no problems with that. And we moved since then. We had the same television, not a thing wrong with that TV whatsoever. And I've had a lot of synchronistic events in my life that have pushed me to make decisions. So I've made the decision based on the synchronistic event, and 6 months down the line, I look back, and that was 100% the correct decision to make that I was wavering on making. One was walking out of a job, and it was 100% the correct decision, because now the job doesn't exist anymore. They've closed it all down. And I thought, that's ridiculous. That I can't be seeing that. And again, I'm still struggling with this. And even today, I can't just accept this. So many mediums have said, you've just got to accept this and go with it. So I said, look, I'll go with it, but I have to have something you can hang your hat on. I have to have some sort of factual reason that this is happening. And over the past, since 2006, over the past 17 years, I've found factual reasons. I've found experiments that have been conducted by governments all around the world, and that I didn't know about there, that are proving there is an alternate dimension. My research stopped centering around the virgin birth and started centering around Egypt, which brought certain rituals to light. I discovered the rituals. I'd read quite a lot about them in the Colburn Bible. And then somebody asked me if I'd like to join Freemasonry. So I said, no, you're okay. Nobody's ever asked me before. No, you're right. I don't think that's really me, really. And then 2 weeks later, somebody else asked me, a completely different person. So I went, well, that's weird. It's like I'm being given another nudge. That's what I call them now, nudges. So I went, no, you're all right. You're okay. That's not a problem. And then it went another week after that. So it's 3 times in 1 month. Somebody else asked me, which was quite a close friend of mine. I didn't even know it was a Freemason. So this time I went, I'm just going to say yes and go with this. So I said, yeah, go on then. Okay. And over the next 2 or 3 years in Freemasonry, I ended up taking part in the rituals that I was reading about in the Colburn Bible. And again, another very, very synchronistic event. And I don't turn down anything now. If somebody says to me, do you want to do this? I'll go, yes, unless it's ridiculously difficult for me to do this. I follow my gut feeling a lot more now because of what I've found, the experts in each individual field that I've discovered that I knew nothing about before. And I'm much more, I would say I'm much more pagan now than ever before, to be honest with you. So that's the gist of how it started, and it pushed me onto a quest. I like to call it a quest because it sounds good. It's a journey. It's a journey that I've never been on anything like this before, but it's been a real eye opener some of the experts I found and the things that they've proved and looked at. And I now know I'm not going mad. These things were happening.
Right. Right. Well, I thought that you'd be telling me stuff that we already knew from the interviews, but it was a lot of new details that I didn't know about, which is quite cool, quite interesting. I was going to ask you. You know, you have orbs and the photos. Does this still happen today? You take photos.
In fact, you saying that, I got a photograph from a friend of mine that I used to work with in a radio station. She was my co-host. She sent her pictures of a fire, and I'm looking at this picture. She hasn't seen them, but I'm looking at this picture. I've blown it up, and there's orbs all over the place. This is. I still feel like this is something that had been proven to me over and over again. But once it was proven, the synchronistic events, I don't know whether I've just I'm just accepting them now, and they're not strange at all, and I just go with the flow, or whether they've eased off slightly. But it seems like there was right at the start a big influx of stuff and situations that I was put into, and then once I'd sort of accepted it and started looking into it, they eased off slightly, and that thought, I thought to myself at that point that no, someone is trying to prove something. I don't know who, and I don't know what, but they're trying to prove it.
Yeah, it was trying to make you aware of the orbs for whatever reason. I'm not really sure properly why. What do you actually think the orbs are?
Well, I now know. You get people turn around and say that they're spirits, and I can't. I'd love to be able to say yes, I believe that 100%. There is no doubt it's energy, 100% energy. But I can't take the next step because I've got nothing to hang my hat on. I can't take the next step and say they're spirit people. I just can't do that. It's logic inside me is going, no, I'm not having all this. So it's energy as far as I can see, because there's more orbs noted around monoliths than there are anywhere else. And monoliths, especially Egyptian monoliths, I've seen a few pictures of of videos taken around Egypt at night when it was calmer. There was no dust being kept. There's orbs everywhere, all over this place. And on one of the film shoots, the film was called The Rapture, by the way. On that particular night shoot, on one of the night shoots, I was taking pictures of we was in a concrete crushing area. And again, there was orbs everywhere, which I've written off to very small particles of dust in the air. And because there's going to be dust everywhere, it's crushing concrete and the wind was blowing it. So I just wrote it off as that. But now looking back, I'm not so sure that I was right in writing that off.
Yeah, now, on your take with that, I was wanting to ask you that a lot of debunkers, when it comes to the paranormal, like to do that when it comes to orbs. What's your take on the debunkers aspects of it? Like they discard orbs altogether when they go into investigations now. I know that you never mentioned anything about that, but I was wondering if you have your opinion about that, how people treat orbs when it comes to the paranormal.
Well, I think I said something to somebody once. I can't remember what the subject was, and I said, "Oh, this means that," and then they immediately came back to me and said, "Well, I've just done a Google search, and the first answer said it wasn't that," and I went, so you're going to believe the first answer? First of all, that's not research. That's just having a quick shufti. That's having a quick look. That's all. That's not research at all. So proper research, you find your phrase, and you keep looking through the hits that come up in Google, and you go through the first page, read it, second page, read it all, third page, read it all, rephrase the phrase again, and keep doing it. If you got one phrase in general that I was looking at was the Helios Biblios, which was one of the original Greek names for the Holy Bible. And that one phrase, I researched that one phrase, Helios Biblios, for 2 weeks, every day for 2 weeks, for a few hours a day. So that's a proper research. And what you'll find is the truth, like cream on milk, will come rising to the top. So when somebody says, no, it's a load of old nonsense, it was spitting with rain, they weren't there. And most of the orbs were inside. Because that's what I've had on I've done a different podcast. Oh, was it spitting with rain at all? I mean, not inside, mate. No, it wasn't. Not inside. Sorry. Okay, well, it's very dusty. Okay, then. Well, all these places are that dusty. If it was a working building site, concrete crushing place, yes, I could understand it would be dusty. So that's why I've written that off with all the orbs. But not everywhere. Not in my friend's front room. Not in the first 2 photographs that showed no orbs at all. And then the third one, there was half a dozen orbs. Not in a room that I was laying in Florence while my girlfriend at the time was in the shower. And I'm holding a camera up like this, taking pictures and asking for a certain amount of orbs and getting the answer that I wanted. That all of it is a good amount of research. But when somebody just says, no, I don't believe it, orbs are a bit of dust on the lens, and it just means they haven't looked deep enough, or they're not ready to experience that part of reality for themselves. Some people are very frightened about this. Some people are control freaks, and they need to control their reality. My brother was very much like this. He went up into the loft, and he looked in there was a big trunk there. He opened the trunk and he looked inside the loft. First time he'd been in this loft, in this house in Barkingside. Looked in the loft and looked in the trunk, and oh, look, there's a gas mask wrapped up in newspapers. So he looked at the gas mask. Oh, it's in quite good condition. He's picked up the newspaper, and it was the year, month, and day. The newspaper was when he was born. It was his birthday, exactly. So he went, I chucked it in, closed the lid, come out of the loft, and I will never go in that loft again. So I went, that would mean look deeper. But my brother was so frightened, he immediately started ridiculing any experience other than it doesn't exist. So I'm a little bit gentler now with people that say, no, I don't believe that. That's fine. That's okay. It just means to say that you're not ready yet. As I wasn't right at the start. And I don't want to push you into a world where you start questioning your own sanity the way I questioned mine.
No, I like that. That's a good way of looking at it. I just figured I'd ask because I know that orbs have been a big topic when it comes to the paranormal and stuff. So that was all I really wanted to ask.
As far as I know, they're just energy. They're just, I won't say spirit energy, but they're just energy being emitted from Mother Earth.
I only ever saw one orb. It was on my mother's birthday, and I went through a spell. I was getting signs from her every year on her birthday. I was getting signs from her basically, and I was going to take a picture of my partner because she was wearing an outfit. She wanted to know what she looked like in it. And as I was taking a picture, I saw this orb come up. And I looked out away from the camera. I thought, it's not there. Back in the camera, and I could see it. It was there again. And the next thing, it shot up through the ceiling and vanished. And that was it. And that's the only time I ever seen an orb, and that was on my mother's birthday as well. So it was like freaky, I know, but that's the only time. You know,
one of my friend's houses. He lives in a bungalow, and he's got this conservatory. And his wife couldn't sleep, so she's sitting in the conservatory. She's just laying on the sofa, trying to sleep again, trying to doze. And she got the feeling that there was something going on in the conservatory that she couldn't. The dog's ears were pricked up like this, and the dog's, obviously disturbed by something. And she's got because it's right by the back door, she's got a camera on the back door that's capturing all this footage. So they sent me the image, or the images, the video footage, and I've looked at the first one, but I've looked on it on a 24-inch, because I've built myself a little studio, a 24-inch HD monitor. they were looking at it on their phones. They've gone, oh, we can't see anything in the image. And when I've blown this video footage up, you can clearly see at the point the dog's ears pricked up and started being uncomfortable, and at the point when his missus felt as if someone was in the room, there were 5 orbs zigzagging across the screen like this. And one came towards the screen and went past it. Another one went across, one went upwards that way. And then there was no more orbs after that. And then the dog settled down, and his wife settled down as well. So there's definitely more to orbs than we're thinking.